Alright, y'all. I'm so excited to hear this word. I love all y'all so much, family. I really do hope this video encourages everybody who watches it, everybody who finds this video as confirmation, because it has really been a blessing to me. This word has really been a blessing to me. So I've been on a rest week, I guess you could say, and I didn't know what was going on with me exactly. I just felt so tired. And one day last week, I was sitting in the car. I was just physically, mentally, everything just drained. And I started to cry. And I'm like, why am I crying? I didn't have a direct reason to be crying. And I'm just like, wow, I feel tired. I ended up laying down and going to sleep. But I had woke up like a few hours later, and when I woke up, I remembered this dream that I had. There was a room full of a lot of babies, like hundreds of babies. And so long story short, when I asked God for the revelation to this dream, he said to me that all of those different babies represented all the things that I have birthed in the spirit realm. And in that entire room, I only saw one mom. And she was very, very beautiful. She had really, really beautiful hair. All of these people just looked very lively. And I know that's a weird word to use because obviously they were human. They were alive. But they just looked extremely realistic, like heavenly, if I could say. And she was just sitting there and she looked worn out. She looked so tired. She looked so beat down. And at first I thought she was sad. But as I'm looking at her, and it seemed like she could not see me. And I was like real close to her and I'm just looking at her. And I'm like, I don't think this woman is sad. I think she's just tired. And God ends up saying that that woman represents me. He began speaking to me about the fact that I'm tired, I was drained, I was worn out because of everything that I had produced in the spirit realm. In a couple of my videos in the past, I've spoke about God saying, I'm 37 weeks, you're 38 weeks, your baby is the size of this, the size of that. I've never seen those babies come to pass, and I thought it was just one baby. I thought I was walking into this new season with one bundle of joy. But God wants to make it known that I'm not and you're not. If this video is for you, you're walking into this new season with multiple spiritual babies, with multiple blessings. The baby that was closest to the mom was a baby that appeared to be less than 1 year old. And as I'm writing out the dream, I said, I don't know how old this baby is, but it looked under 1 year old. And God said the baby is 11 months old. And when he said 11 months, I instantly knew why it was that God showed me an 11-month-old child. Now, all these babies that were in the room were different ages. 2 months, 1 month, newborn, 8 months. None of them was crying. They were all peaceful and just very lively. But this 11-month-old baby really caught my eye. It was such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful baby. And it was just crawling around in the little crib. But as I said, when God mentioned the baby was 11 months old, I knew exactly what that represented. 11 is a number that God has been showing me recently. In the Bible, the trip from Egypt to Canaan was only supposed to take 11 days. And so God has been using the number 11 to represent that the blessing is right on time. Everything is happening right on time. But not only is the blessing happening right on time, but we have perfected our timing. Our timing is perfect in God's eyes. We aren't a minute too late. We didn't make any detours. We didn't make any stops. Yeah, you may have fell back into sin for a short amount of time. Yeah, you may not have listened the first time that God gave instruction. But in his eyes, you are right on cue. In his eyes, you did everything in perfect timing. Matter of fact, not just perfect timing, but ahead of timing. Because even despite all of your mishaps Even despite everything that seemingly went wrong, it only took you 11 days. I know a lot of y'all are in a space where you feel very tired, you feel very worn out, but it's a different type of tired. It's a different type of worn out. It's a tiredness that does not come with the toiling that it once did. It's not a defeat, but a depletion that you feel in your spirit. It's more so a tired that signifies the end of the race than it does taking a break or taking a pit stop in the middle of the race. And this is something that I wrote regarding that. It was only one mother in that room, and the mother represented me. How tired would a woman be if she just gave birth to not one, but hundreds of babies? How would she feel? That woman was happy, of course, to have pushed through labor and birthed, but she could not comfortably sit in the goodness just yet because she first needed to recuperate. And that's when the full message came full circle. Because God keeps bringing this word back to me: recuperate, recuperate, recuperate. This is a recuperation period. You feel tired. You feel like, look, I need to just lay down. Look, I may need to call off for work. I really wanted to cook today, but I'm going to just order a pizza. I'm going to just order takeout because I'm tired. You need time to recuperate. Something else I wrote is, I've been walking around heavy for so many years, not knowing what I was carrying. And for so many of you, I know y'all have the same story. Looking back, there was such a heaviness over you. There was a weight over you, and you did not realize why. You did not understand why you were so weary. You did not understand why you felt so depleted. You thought you were defeated, but really you were only depleted. So it says, I was carrying heavy babies. My ministry, my anointing, my mantles, my gifts, my marriage, the separate anointing of each one of my children. And that's to name a few. If you think on your life, if you think on the things you've heard over the years, the things that God has showed you over the years regarding who you are, what you are in Him, you can recognize what heavy babies you have been carrying. Then I said, not to mention the abundance of blessings, the abundance of grain on top of that. No wonder why my back would hurt like it did. Look what I was carrying. Because in the physical, I experienced a lot of back pain, severe back pain for years. But in the spirit, it's because I was carrying such a heavy load. Then it says, and I've produced all of that at once in the spirit. And just like the mother in the dream, I'm tired. Just like I was after having Adric. I didn't sleep for 1 second in labor and delivery, but once I did, I was knocked. Listen, everybody and their mama was asleep in that room. I said, why y'all asleep? I was supposed to be asleep, but I couldn't sleep. And it makes me think about the seasons leading up to now. It wasn't no sleep. We was up. We was looking. We were on the lookout for the blessing. We were on the lookout. I'm not missing this train. I'm not missing this bus. It's time to take off. And I'm not going to be asleep. You're not finna find me sleep. But once I did have my son, I was knocked out. I was most definitely asleep. And listen, I've been asleep. I've been asleep over here. And it says, I would feed him, change him, and sleep. They gave me pain medication, but I wasn't so much in pain as I was worn out by exertion at zero capacity after birth. I was dead tired, dead drained after bringing forth new life. After birth, you need time to recuperate, which can be defined as recover from exertion. I produced and they ran off with my baby. I laid there longing to be reunited with him, what belongs to me. I laid there tired, longing for him. In that moment, I had a mixture of emotions. Life will not be the same. There will be ups and downs. It may not always be easy or fun, but from this day forward, I'm blessed. And let's talk about the longing. I know for a lot of us, we have truly been longing for our blessings now in this time more than we ever have. It's a deep yearning desire for our blessings. It's a yearning, it's a longing that feels like if I don't get these blessings, I will faint, I will wither and die. If I do not behold the promises of the Lord, I will be no longer. Because in the spirit, you have birthed the things that you are waiting on. In the spirit, it is already done. And now you're just waiting to be reunited with your blessings. But this time not in the spirit, but in the physical. I remember when I first brought my son home and I was just looking at this tiny little baby walking around in my room, and it was just the weirdest experience because I'm like, wow, for so long it's just been me. I've only thought about me. I've only had to sustain me. And although I was pregnant and I had a room full of this baby stuff and crib set up and stuff, it was just me. I knew I had a child, but I couldn't see that child. We know we have blessings, but we cannot see those blessings. But it was something about seeing my blessing manifested. It was something about holding that blessing in my hands as I'm walking through my room thinking, what? He belongs to me. I would just replay giving birth to him over and over because I'm like, this came out of me. Like, this my child. And it was scary. It was scary. I'm like, wow, what if I drop him? What if I lay on him? What if I forget to feed him? What if just... I don't want to go wrong with this blessing. And people always say things like, oh, you got a baby now. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do that. And I'm just thinking like, well, dang, if I have a job, if I go to school. And of course, these were things that I thought of before. But it's something about when you truly stand in the promise, when you truly stand holding your blessing. And for a lot of us, as we long to be reunited with our blessings, we are having some of these same thoughts. These thoughts of life will not be the same. There will be ups and downs. It may not always be easy or fun, but from this day forward, I'm blessed. We don't know what to expect, but we know that we will be blessed. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we know that we will be blessed. We don't know what it's going to feel like to truly stand in the midst of those blessings, but we just know that we will be blessed. Okay, I didn't know I was going to be sharing all this, but God said to share it, so okay. It says, I cried out to God last night, saying how I'm longing and have been longing all my life. Ooh, listen. Ooh. It's him who even said the word longing. And by that, I meant like on a different night last week, I just started crying. I was so, I don't know, sad is not even the word. And I was just crying. I'm like, God, I don't know how I feel. I don't know what this feeling is. I don't want to be upset with you. I don't want to be mad at you. Or I don't want to be out of alignment. But I'm feeling these feelings that aren't good feelings, and I don't know what they mean. And so I said, I don't know how I feel. I feel like and he said the word longing to me. And so that's what I'm talking about. And I said, I didn't know how I felt. Just like in that hospital bed waiting on Adric. I was happy, I was sad, I was excited, scared, confused. But most of all, I was longing to hold him in my arms. Then I held him and we slept. I said, today I slept. I slept from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Then I took a nap from 9 to 12 a.m. I was so tired and I dozed off so peacefully. And God took me in the spirit and showed me what I've been longing for. He showed me what I produced. And I'm referring to the dream that I shared with y'all about this birthing room in the heavenly realm. And it says, I woke all the way up a few minutes after 12:22. And real quick, I got to share this with y'all. I kept seeing the time 12:22 almost daily, 12:22 p.m. and a.m. every day for some time. And I was like, why do I keep seeing 12:22? What does that mean? What does that mean? And God would never say anything. And so one day I just decided to look through this old stack of pictures that I have. And so I'm just going through them. And I stumbled upon the card that they stuck in the little hospital bassinet that my son was in. And I'm looking at this card and I thought, wow, because I used to have the time that he was born memorized, but I could not remember what time he was born. So I looked on the card to see what time he was born. And it said 12:22, and I was just like, what? So this is why I keep seeing 12:22. But like I said, I woke all the way up a few minutes after 12:22. I keep seeing 12:24, 12:27, etc., and I didn't know why. I've been seeing 12:22 for the past week or two, almost nonstop. Then I started to see 12:21 a few days back. Now I've been seeing 12:23 or times shortly after 12:22. I thought, why am I seeing this? I remember briefly questioning if it was because something was now birthed, but nothing had happened though, so I was confused. But thinking back, on the 16th, which was a few days before I wrote all this in my notes, I woke up to God saying, today you will birth something new. All day I was in such a great mood. I was so happy. I went into spiritual labor that day. The night of the 17th, I began to feel tired, detached, drained, etc., and I sat in the car fighting back tears. Late that night, morning, I was like, God, why do I feel like this? And that's the night when he said the word longing. The definition of longing is intense yearning for an unfulfilled desire. Okay, I hope y'all following me, because reading that, I just confused myself. So, but basically, I wrote all of that to say this part that I also wrote. What's happening in the spirit is happening in the physical realm. God showed me what I've experienced in the physical these past few days was all a reflection of the spiritual. I'm not tired all of a sudden for no reason. I just gave birth. And after they clean the baby off, they bring it to you to have and hold. I would say, God, I'm drained, I'm hurting, I'm sad, and I don't want to talk. But this is a different type of drain that I've never experienced before. I've never ever experienced what I'm living right now, and that in itself is a clear indication that it's time. I'm not depressed, I'm recuperating. I'm not just being lazy, I'm recuperating. I've been sleepy, I've been putting my phone on do not disturb. I've been trying to get alone. I've been doing little as possible because I'm recuperating. I just gave birth. It's here. My soul was at peace after having my son, knowing he's healthy, I'm healthy, and we both pushed through. I have a video that I'm currently editing talking about the peace that I know a lot of us are experiencing. And this peace is subsequent to what's happening and what's being produced in the spirit. Because although we are in recuperation, there is a peace that has come about the recuperation. There is a peace deep within your soul that has sprung forth through recuperation. He also wants me to mention that same night that I was sitting in the car and I was sad, and God said that I'm longing for the blessing. Earlier that night on my way home, I was thinking about how tired I felt and depleted I felt. And I pulled up to the red light and I looked over at this truck, and it had advertising on it. And it was a lot of words on this advertisement. But the first word that I saw right when I looked up was the word fulfilling. And before then, I had saw the number 888 on somebody's car. Number 8 is a number that God had been showing me, and I talked about it in this video that I'm going to insert. But the number 8 in Hebrew means to make fat. It means new beginnings, not just complete, but satiated. The word satiate means to fill, to fully satisfy. God has been speaking to me the meaning of number 8. I see 888 on somebody's car on a night that I feel depleted, tired, worn out, in the midst of a spiritual labor unbeknownst to me. And then shortly after, I pull up to a red light and see the word fulfilling on somebody's truck. The word longing is defined as an intense yearning for an unfulfilled desire. Please catch that in the spirit. I thought that I would be holding one baby, not knowing that I would be holding hundreds. How do you hold hundreds of babies at one time? When God says he's going to fully satisfy you, he means that. When God says overflow, he means that. This is something else that I've seen concerning the number 8. While new beginnings sound wonderful to the soul, it is imperative that one considers the cause for this to occur. All new life, new births, and new beginnings require a death. The old must die in order for new life or for a new beginning to occur. This is in part why we've been feeling so sad. They say that giving birth is the closest thing to death. When you give birth to a child, if you think about it, there's a lot of things that die in the process of new life being birthed. Your old way of life is now dead, and there's no way to go back to it. I used to hate fried okra. Don't bring me no okra. I can't do nothing with no okra. But after I had my son, fried okra me all day. I used to sit up and eat bags of hot chips, hot fries. I don't need no water. I don't need no Arizona. I don't need no tea. Now, 3, 4, 5 chips, and I'm putting that bag down. It's some things that die away when you birth. It's some things that change when you birth. Things that can never go back how they once were. It says that as a caterpillar goes from a caterpillar to a butterfly, the caterpillar has to die in order for the butterfly to be birthed. So how can something be dead while producing something new? That's how you know something is completely supernatural. And as I'm going back to write all of this out in my notes, I added the picture to my notes of the license plate that said 888, and I noticed that the car was an Equinox. And that just stuck out in my spirit. I don't know what equinox means, but God says to go and look up the meaning. And so when I looked up the meaning of equinox, it was talking about the sun and the positioning to the earth. I didn't know what they was talking about. But then as I'm scrolling, I see something talking about the spiritual meaning of equinox. And so I read it, and it talked about the spring equinox. And it says the spring equinox is a festival of awakening and rebirth. The dark months are now over, and we're moving into the warmth of the light. Overall, spring is a joyful time. Everything is coming alive. Nature is waking up and being reborn. The same thing is happening within you. Your spirit is coming alive with hope, excited energy. Parts of your being reborn and coming alive in ways they never have before. Spring represents a new day. It's dawn in the wheel of the year. A new sun is rising. Life is waking up in the warm sunlight, and your spirit feels ready to make a fresh start. I was just like, what? What? Then it says the spring equinox falls around March 20th. I wrote all of this out on March 19th. This is a true Kairos moment because what is happening in the spirit is parallel to what is happening in the physical. And I said that reminds me on Thursday, the 17th at 8 a.m., I had a new photos memory titled Golden Hour. And when I woke up and seen that on my phone, golden hour, that just hit my spirit so hard. And I look up the meaning of golden hour, and it says the golden hour is the period of daytime shortly after sunrise or before sunset. The golden hour is also sometimes called the magic hour. And I also read somewhere that the golden hour can evoke nostalgia, happiness, and a sense of youth. And nostalgia is defined as a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically for a period or place with happy personal associations. And I wrote, that explains why I've been thinking about the past, reflecting on all I've been through, kind of wishing I could go back in some weird way or another. But yeah, no. It was so painful, and I feel crazy for seeing this, but I'ma kind of miss it. Ultimately, I've been mourning what once was. This is my golden hour, my magic hour. A new day is springing forth. I saw all those birds outside at 2 a.m. in the morning. I said, dang God, why is all these birds out flying around and chirping? He said, because even the birds know it's a new day. I think it's quite interesting how in the physical realm, the seasons have changed. And in the midst of the seasons changing, the spiritual seasons are changing as well. A couple days ago, somebody had opened the back door and a June bug flew in. And I was like, ew, what is that? I thought it was like a roach or something. I don't know. And I looked at it and I'm like, what? This is a June bug. And I was so confused. I'm like, but it's winter. And I was like, wait a minute. It is not winter. And apparently everybody does not know what a June bug is, because I was telling somebody this and they was like, what? A what? But they're seasonal bugs. They only show up for a certain amount of time. But when you start to see them, it's an indication, baby, it's going to start getting real hot outside. You better get your walking out now, because in a minute ain't going to be no walking. No, I'm not walking nowhere. I don't care if it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm not walking because it's hot. But that really shook me, because it was a reality check. Like, girl, the seasons have changed. Just like it says, the spring equinox is a festival of awakening and rebirth. The dark months are now over and we're moving into the warmth of the light. Spring is a joyful time. Everything is coming alive. Nature is waking up and being reborn. The same thing is happening with you. Your spirit is coming alive with hopeful, excited energy. Parts of you are being reborn and coming alive in ways they never have before. Spring represents a new day. It's dawn in the wheel of the year. A new sun is rising. Life is waking up in the warm sunlight, and your spirit feels ready to make a fresh start.